Lions coach Wayne Font said when you looked at this game at the start of the season, you probably thought it would be the battle for the NFC Central title. After all, these two teams went to the wire last year. Detroit won the division title. Both the Bears and Lions went to the playoffs. But Chicago comes into this one at 5-9. The Lions are 4-10. We know what has gone wrong for Detroit. Tragedies and injuries. But Hank Stram, what has gone wrong for Chicago?
I think basically they need more talent. They need a lot more help in that department. Plus the fact they need a lot more speed. Overall team speed.
Both teams winners last week in impressive fashion. Jim Harbaugh returned to quarterback the Chicago Bears as they beat Pittsburgh. And Andre Ware made his season debut against Cleveland. He looked very good.
He was very impressive. You know, he's a big, strong guy, has a great arm, terrific escapability skill, and he makes things happen. You know, with Barry Sanders and Andre Ware playing in the same backfield, now you got a double dip situation, and you really got to be concerned about the elimination of big, big plays.
As we mentioned, this is the 117th meeting between the Bears and the Lions. It's the second longest rivalry in National Football League history. Only the Bears and Packers have met more often. They've played 146 times. Chicago has won 14 of the last 17 between these two. Chris Gardocki will kick off. The 22-year-old in his second year out of Clemson and back deep. The best return man in the NFL, the Lions' Mel Gray. Just about a sellout crowd on hand, despite the standing of these two teams. And with the crowd today, the Lions will have their best average attendance for the entire season since 1983. Mel Gray from the 3. And out to the 24-yard line. That's where the Lions will begin 1st and 10, led by Andre Ware, making his second start of the season, just his third NFL start. He's in his third year. Dennis McKnight gets his first start of the season at center. He is the 4th different starting center this year for the Lions. And the Lions begin with 4 wide receivers and Barry Sanders, the lone running back. He is the all-time leading rusher in Detroit history. Andre Ware, 24 years old, 6'2", 205 pounds. And looking to throw on first down. Wide open. Brett Perriman in the Chicago territory and down at the 46-yard line. Tackled by Mark Carrier after a gain of 31.
Now Perriman just breaks open over the middle and he gets rid of, look at the pass protection here. All the time in the world to throw the ball, step, throw, follow through. Look at the big cavity inside, makes the reception, and is a very good runner once he makes the catch. A big first down for the Detroit Lions.
They're at the 45 of Chicago. Sanders, flag down. Sanders driven out of bounds after a gain of 1, pushed out by Richard Fain, the cornerback. Ernie Kukar is the referee today. And a procedure penalty against Detroit.
We have illegal formation on the offense. The tackle is on the end of the line. 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Wayne Font's Lions, the second most penalized team in the National Football League this year. Only Indianapolis has had the flag thrown more often. The Bears defense led by Mike Singletary in his 12th and final season. Armstrong, McMichael, Perry, and Dent up front will set the rest of the Chicago defense after the play. Pass is incomplete and nearly intercepted by John Roper. And had he picked that off, he had nothing but green artificial turf between himself and the end zone. Roper with Singletary and Morrissey starting for Ron Cox at outside linebacker. And the secondary, Donnell Wolford and Richard Fain, the corners, Mark Carrier and Sean Gale, the safeties. The defensive coordinator of the Bears is Vince Tobin.
And I think they have to do a lot of changing during the course of the game defensively to put a little pressure on him. I think they got to blitz him some and try to confuse him as much as they possibly can, Sean.
Second down, 15. We've played a minute and a half, no score. The Lions at midfield.
There was a blitz.
Looking for Herman Moore. It is caught. Looked like Wolford would pick it off, but Moore stayed with it, and he's out of bounds at the 7-yard line. A 43-yard gain.
Moore is on the outside here as we look at him release down the field. He's got a big cushion. Look at all the room he's got, and then he closes in on the defensive back. Look at this. And he's got great leaping ability, terrific concentration, and he makes the catch for the first down. What a fantastic play that was by Herman Moore.
Herman's now caught at least one pass in 14 straight games. That was his 42nd reception of the year. First and goal, Detroit at the 7 as Ware came to the line of scrimmage. The play clock was running down, and he took a timeout. The Lions on the move in the first possession of the ball game.
Moore is 6'4", and Wolford is 5'9". I think Wolford jumped up just a little bit. The timing of the jump was a little bit premature, and as a result, why Moore, with great concentration, was able to suck that one right up and make the catch.
Herman Moore is a former ACC high jump champion, and over the last 4 weeks, he's been making a number of big plays. A 32-yard reception against Cincinnati, 77 against Houston, 45 against Green Bay, 41 last week, and the play here in the opening moments this afternoon covered 43 yards. First and goal, Detroit after the timeout from the 7. Sanders in trouble and down back at the 9-yard line. Donnell Wolford was first there.
Yeah, he came up and forced the play extremely well on the corner. Number 21, Wolford. You know, actually, they had a wing back, and they set him in motion to the right side. Had they run back away from where the motion was, they'd have had a big play right into the end zone for the touchdown, but they went the wrong way. Too many folks on that right side.
12:19 to play in the first quarter, no score. Second and goal from the 9. Quarterback draw, and Ware's down to the 4-yard line. He demonstrated that he can run last week. He carried 5 times against Cleveland for 68 yards.
I think, you know, when you're very fast like he is and very quick, you have the tendency to be impatient on a draw play. You have to set it up like you're going to throw the ball, invite people to come, and then the cavities open up, and then you take advantage of the openings and take off and run. I think he hit it in there just a little bit too soon.
Sixth play of the drive upcoming. It's third and goal from outside the 4.
They got a bump and run on the left side to see if he tries to go up on top.
Looks for Herman Moore. Incomplete. Ware threw it in a double coverage. Wolford and Sean Gale both running stride for stride with Herman Moore, and the field goal unit will come on.
Here we go again. Back in the pocket with a 3-step drop, looking to his right, trying to get the ball over with another mismatch with Moore. But the ball was thrown a little bit up on top, out of the end zone, falls incomplete.
Jason Hansen, the 22-year-old rookie, had a string of 12 consecutive field goals snapped last week when a 57-yarder was blocked. Out of the hold of the punter, Jim Arnold, a 22-yard try. And the Lions have a 3-0 lead. An impressive opening drive for the Lions ends in a field goal. The Silverdome. Jason Hansen with an excellent kickoff, and Darren Lewis will down it 7 yards deep in the end zone.
I tell you this, Sean, I'm sure Ditka feels very, very good about the fact they came away with only 3 points on that play. And it's got to be discouraging, I would think, for Detroit to have that kind of a big play and not get a touchdown.
Jim Harbaugh back at quarterback. He returned last week, and this is a return home to the state of Michigan for Harbaugh. The offensive line, they've been shuttling people in and out throughout. Troy Auzine, the left tackle, a rookie, has started every game. Lewis and Muster the backs, Davis and Anthony Morgan for the injured Tom Waddle. The wideouts. Waddle out for the remainder of the year with a hemorrhaging hip. Lewis with a big hole and a first down. On the first play from scrimmage for Chicago, Darren Lewis picks up 16. Chris Spielman on his way to leading the Lions in tackles for the 5th straight year. He'd be the first man to do that. Spindler, Lawrence Pete for the injured Jerry Ball and Dan Owens up front. Spielman, the key man among the linebacker corps, but George Jamison is the most unsung Lion according to Coach Wayne Ponce. Crockett, Jenkins, Blades, and White, a veteran and hard-hitting secondary for Detroit. First and 10, Chicago. From their own 37-yard line. Plenty of time. The pass incomplete. Melvin Jenkins broke it up. It was intended for Anthony Morgan.
He didn't get rid of it fast enough, I don't think, that time. He didn't have any rush whatsoever. Had plenty of time to throw the ball, but threw it a little bit too high. Those kind of passes, Sean, you got to throw from the chin down, throw it at the numbers, because if you don't catch it, that kind of a ball is going to go right down to the ground. You throw it above the head, why then it's going to bounce up in the air, and you wind up with a tipping drill and usually an interception. So it's got to be below the neck.
We saw the time remaining in the first quarter. The Lions lead 3-0 on a 22-yard field goal by Hansen. Lewis out to the 40. That'll bring up 3rd down and 7.
That time the Lions pretended like they were going to blitz. They got up in the line of scrimmage and then they backed off. There was no blitz, but they confused, I think, the offense a little bit from a defensive standpoint.
There's Chris Spielman. Jim Harbaugh told us yesterday that Chris Spielman is his favorite NFL player to watch. He admires the intensity and intelligence with which Spielman plays, and of course they go back to their college days playing against each other when Spielman was at Ohio State and Harbaugh was at Michigan.
And he wants to be a coach when he gets through playing football. He said, I don't know how I could live without being involved in football.
3rd down and 7. Harbaugh taken down from behind by Tracy Scroggins, the rookie from Tulsa.
And Scroggins really has done a good job. He's come into the game with 5 sacks.
He took over as the starter in week 11 when Mike Kofer went down for the remainder of the year with a knee injury. Chris Gardocki on the punt. He's averaging 42.5 per punt. Mel Gray from the 23. And down at the 33-yard line. The Lions back on offense, leading 3-0. And a late flag thrown, so we'll keep it here for a moment. There was a skirmish at the end of the play. It also looked from here that Gray was grabbed by the face mask, but we didn't see a flag thrown. Detroit were tied atop the division. Detroit wound up winning it with a record of 12-4. And this was how they stacked up starting the day today in the NFC Central. Minnesota and Green Bay have overtaken Chicago and Detroit. The Bears and Lions battling for 3rd place. Chicago and Detroit, the 2 teams that have headed south in the most dramatic fashion this year. In terms of one-loss record heading into week 15, Barry Sanders on 1st and 10 from the 16-yard line got very little. Sean Gale up from his safety spot. Andre Ware was 2 for 4 on the opening drive that netted the field goal, and he passed for 74 yards on that opening drive.
Talked to Bill Ford before the game on the field, the owner of the Detroit Lions, and he was ecstatic about the way Andre Ware played last week, and now he's concerned about how well he can continue to play like he played last week. That's going to be the question.
No gain on 1st down, 2nd and 10 for the Lions. 8 minutes to play in the first quarter, 3-0 Detroit. Ware Bears throwing the strong arm again. Too strong and intercepted. He overthrew Herman Moore, and Donnell Wolford picked it off. His team leading 5th interception of the year.
See, I think that's one of the problems when they have a strong arm. He made up his mind he was going to he made up his mind that he was going to throw the ball deep to Moore, and as a result, regardless what the coverage was, he still threw the ball deep downfield, and it winds up being intercepted. Look at all the time he had to throw the football, but the coverage was excellent. Step for step, he had safety coming in to help from the backside, and I know he is upset with himself for making that kind of a throw in that situation.
Second interception that Ware has thrown in his limited action this season. He's thrown 3 touchdown passes. So the Bears have it back at their own 40. Lewis ahead for 4. Tripped up by Tracy Scroggins. Lewis will alternate at tailback this afternoon for the Bears with Neil Anderson. Aaron Lewis in his 2nd year out of Texas A&M.
Yeah, he's a lightning guy. He's great speed and quickness.
He holds 13 different Southwest Conference rushing records, including most yards rushing. Rushed over 5,000 yards in 4 years at A&M. 2nd and 6. Brad Mustard for the first time today. Stopped at the line of scrimmage. Dennis Gibson at the top of the pile. Benny Blades up from his safety spot. This has been a lengthy and heated rivalry over the years, and we've already seen tempers flare on a number of occasions. Philadelphia secured a playoff berth with the win over Washington. The Redskins had a chance to win it on the final play of the game with a pass from inside the 5 that was incomplete. Minnesota won on a last-second field goal at Pittsburgh by Fuad Reveiz to wrap up the NFC Central. Green Bay, a winner over the Los Angeles Rams. Their hopes of winning the division title extinguished with that Viking win. Buffalo defeated New Orleans, just the 4th loss of the season for the Saints.
Gee, that surprised me. I really thought that New Orleans would beat them this afternoon.
The reason for the delay, George Jameson, the 60-year linebacker out of the University of Cincinnati, is being helped off the field. New England continues to have its grasp on the #1 draft pick as they lose to Cincinnati today. Third down, a long 5 upcoming for Chicago. With 6.5 minutes to play in the first quarter, the Lions lead 3-0. Time. That's caught, but short of the first down. Eric Wright will be spotted down at the 48-yard line, 2 yards short of the first down. Willie Clay, who came in the nickel situation, made the tackle.
I can understand why they run that kind of a pattern and not run beyond the area where you have to make up the first down, throw the ball, catch it, and still not to make the first down.
And that's probably what Greg Landry, the offensive coordinator, former Lion quarterback, was saying to Eric Wright and Jim Harbaugh. Mel Gray back to field a punt from Gardocki. This is a beauty. Out of bounds inside the 10-yard line. They'll mark it out at the King is familiar to fans in both Detroit and Chicago. Greg Landry, the offensive coordinator of the Bears, and for 11 years he was the quarterback of the Detroit Lions after coming to them in 1968 as their first-round draft pick out of the University of Massachusetts.
And he was a good one. You don't play in the league 11 years unless you're very good.
After the excellent coffin corner punt by Gardocki that went out of the 7, the Lions 1st and 10. Herman Moore, a frequent target already, hit in the back by Wolford, but he held on for a gain out to the 13-yard line.
On the tackle for Chicago, Wolford.
Andre Ware's got a very high release also. It's hard to block passes because he's so tall and releases the ball up high.
Gain of 6 on first down, 2nd and 4 for Detroit. Jimmy Johnson, the tight end, in motion. to Barry Sanders through a big hole. And down to the 32-yard line. A gain of 19 for Sanders.
Coming at us now. Watch to the right of the screen. The blocks. Lomas Brown. You talk about a reactionary runner. Sanders is exactly that. So he reacts extremely well to what he sees. Head up, eyes open, good control, good balance. He really makes the sparks fly once he gets an opening of any kind.
Sanders in his 4th year with Detroit. Saw his numbers, 1,135 yards for this season coming in. He's rushed for at least 1,300 in each of his first 3 years. Option type play. Sanders got very little. Wolford up from the corner. Trace Armstrong also chased after Sanders.
They like to run that option play if they see there's only one man outside of the tight end. If there's only one guy there, then of course they feel they're going to have 2-on-1 with the quarterback having to be tackled, and the back also has to be picked up. But the corner came up very quickly, made the play, reacted extremely well to the option play.
Wayne Fonts says despite Ware's impressive performance last week against Cleveland, Rodney Peete is still the Detroit Lions' #1 quarterback. Andre Ware is hoping he can change that mindset. If he plays well in these final 2 weeks of the season, he will start next week. 2nd and 10. Under pressure. Ware got away from it. Sanders tried to help him with a block, but he couldn't move John Roper out of the way, and Roper made the tackle, but not before Ware got out to the 37-yard line. Turned what looked to be a sure loss into a gain of 5.
And Ware did a good job of reacting to what. Here's the pressure area. Robert Dent, or Richard Dent, there he is. Going to the outside. And then coming around the block of the tackle, misses the tackle, but good penetration by Richard Dent.
They spotted Ware down at the 38-yard line, so a gain of 6, and that'll bring up 3rd and 4. We're down to 2.5 minutes to play in the first quarter. The Lions lead 3-0. Ware throws a bullet, complete for a first down to midfield. Brett Perriman with his 2nd catch of the afternoon, and he was hammered by Sean Gale after a gain of 13.
You talk about a fastball. That ball got there in a hurry. A lot of RPMs on that ball. Watch him drop back now. Watch him deliver the ball. Look, a step, throw, follow through, just like a pitcher. Right at the numbers, exactly where you have to throw the ball. Gale comes up. There's no way in the world you can make a play in that ball when you throw it at the numbers.
Perriman has caught a pass in every game since coming to the Lions. The start of last season. That's 34 games now with at least 1 catch.
And he came into this game with 56 of them, John.
The leading receiver for Detroit. Perriman on the wide receiver screen. Gets a block from Sanders. And he's down at the 15-yard line. Mark Carrier saved the touchdown for Chicago. It's a gain of 35.
And as you mentioned, Sean, Barry Sanders made a great block downfield that provided him with the opportunity to make extra yardage on the play. Watch it now. We're looking at it from the end zone shot. Go back in the pocket. Fakes to the right. Throws it back to the left side on the screen pass to Perriman. Now look at what happens. He breaks across the face of the linebacker. Breaks down the sideline. Now watch number 20. Watch Sanders coming in here. Watch Sanders come in and make a great block.
Wayne Fonts told us yesterday that Brett Perriman is the best runner among the wide receivers after the catch for Detroit, and he demonstrated that ability, taking the screen and hauling it all the way down to the 14-yard line. Detroit came up to the line again as you watched the replay, and the play clock was running down, so they used a timeout, their second. There are all the final scores of the early games this afternoon in the National Football League.
Now the important thing is they've got good field position. They've got to take advantage of the good field position.
Ware has completed 5 passes for an average of 26 yards per completion. Sanders turns the corner. And he's out of bounds at the 7-yard line. Jim Morrissey and Richard Payne chased him out.
Another great reactionary run by Sanders. That play was designed to either go inside or outside of the tackle. He started inside, jumped outside, and stretched a no gainer into a nice gain on the play.
That will be the final play of the first quarter as the Lions head to the other end of the Silverdome. NFL action continues next Saturday here on CBS Sports. The New Orleans Saints travel to the Meadowlands to take on the New York Jets, and it all gets underway at noon Eastern with the NFL Today, the last word before kickoff. And aren't they festive in their holiday garb? 8th play of the drive. 2nd down and 3 at the 7-yard line. Sanders cuts back and gets very little. Inside the 6, and that's all. John Roper in on the stop for Chicago.
There again is another option play for Sanders. Quarterback reaches. They call it a reach play because the quarterback has to reach out very wide to get the ball to the back, and then he has the option of running inside or outside depending on what he sees. That time he decided to go inside. Total offense Chicago 27 yards. Detroit 163. And that's something.
It is indeed. The Lions dominating, but leading only 3-0. They got down in this territory on their opening drive of the game and stalled, had to settle for a field goal. On 3rd and 2, Sanders, touchdown, untouched. 6 yards, 9-0 Detroit.
Nothing fancy about the play. This play is all about talent. Look at now. They got a good angle on him. He outruns the angle. Look at this and goes into the end zone. Nobody touches him. Carrier, number 20, is coming in from the inside trying to make a play. He gets around there as fast as you could ever see and goes in there for the touchdown. Fantastic skill and ability. And I talked about that before. We talked before the game about speed. The Bears don't have that kind of speed on their football team.
93-yard drive. Hansen trying to cap it with the extra point. It's good. He's a perfect 30 for 30 in PATs in his rookie season. 10-0 Lions. And kicks off a one-hopper down by Darren Lewis. Now the AFC playoff summary. The Bills and Steelers, the division leaders in the East and Central. The Steelers have wrapped up their division. The Bills have the upper hand in the East, and now the Chargers have the upper hand in the West, Hank, with a loss by the Chiefs yesterday.
Yeah, they're a hot team. They're in first place now, and if they win the game next week and win this one, of course, this week, they got to do first things first. They're going to win the West.
Jim Harbaugh under center, 1st and 10 from the 20. He was looking deep. Now he's running for his life. And he picked up 6 like Andre Ware. Harbaugh, an excellent runner. He was finally chased down by Kelvin Pritchett.
That's the nice thing about Harbaugh. He's a contemporary quarterback, meaning that he has good escapability skill. He's got to be able to make some plays on his own like he did on that last play. You know, if you don't have a quarterback who can run by design or just escape, why then, of course, they're playing 11 against 10. When you got him running the ball, then you got 11 against 11, and that's what you like.
2nd down and 4. 13:20 to play in the second quarter. 10-0 Detroit. Lewis. Close to a first down. He needed to reach the 30. They're going to spot him down just short, and that'll bring up third down in less than a yard. George Jameson, the Detroit linebacker who limped off the field earlier, has suffered a sprained right ankle. His return is questionable at the moment. Troy Johnson, number 95, has replaced him at outside linebacker for Detroit.
Tom Thayer on that last play, the right guard, number 57, trapping on the play. Defense reacted extremely well to it, and as a result didn't get nearly as much yardage as they might have.
3rd and 1. And again, the crowd is back trying to help the Lion defense. Lewis picked up the first down. They're going to mark him across the 30-yard line. 1st and 10 for Chicago.
Detroit is really flying to the ball. As a result, any kind of a play inside faking with Harbaugh being able to run the ball on some kind of a bootleg or some kind of a reverse would be very, very timely and very efficient and very effective once he gets a little bit better field position and gets close to the 50 or beyond.
The dark-haired gentleman is Woody Widenhofer, the defensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. Jim Harbaugh says it's difficult to play against Detroit. He says every time we play the Lions, it seems that they do things differently defensively. They show us the same types of defenses 2 games in a row.
Blitz.
And he got it off to Lewis. He's out of bounds, close to another first down, and a late flag thrown out of bounds where they hit Lewis. That will probably be another 15 tacked onto the play as Melvin Jenkins and Dennis Gibson chased after Lewis.
Harbaugh showed great discretion on that play. He felt the pressure of the blitzing cornerback on his right side, got rid of the ball just in time.
That will move Chicago into Lion territory.
We have a late hit, out of bounds, personal foul on the defense, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Watch the left side of your screen. Look at the blitzers coming. He got rid of the ball just in time. He makes the catch. Now let's look at the hit.
Where's the penalty there?
I don't know. That's questionable. I don't know how you could call that a penalty.
At the 45-yard line of Detroit, 1st and 10 Chicago. Setting up the screen to Brad Mustard. Flag thrown on the near side of the field, a mile from the play, as Mustard goes down at the 40 after a gain of 5 of its stands. Tracy Scroggins made the tackle.
Tackled by Scroggins.
Offensive pass interference against Chicago. Now how that can happen where the flag was thrown on a screen that went completely the other side of the field about 40 yards away is difficult to ascertain.
Offensive pass interference, number 33, 10-yard penalty, still first down.
Darren Lewis called for the first Bears penalty of the football game.
You know, the ridiculous thing about the play was the fact they had 2 linemen out in front, and the lineman didn't block anybody. It looked like it could have been a very good play.
10:45 to play in the first half. The Lions lead 10-0. Bears with 1st and 20 now at their own 45. They blitzed Spielman up the middle. And Gibson. Flag thrown. Harbaugh down back at the 36. Chased out by Lawrence Tate.
See, they're creating some problems for the Chicago Bear offense because normally they are a zone, soft kind of a defensive scheme. As far as coverage is concerned, they play area instead of men. Now they're blitzing an awful lot. I don't think the Bears anticipated that, and it's creating quite a problem.
You saw the indication for holding. It'll probably be declined.
Holding, number 57 on the offense. Penalty is declined. Second down.
Tom Thayer, the guilty party.
Watch Spielman now, number 54. Watch him blitz on the play. So he gets into the gap between the center and left guard. But he's picked up nicely on the play. Good blocking at the point of attack by the Chicago Bears. But Harbaugh has to escape for the pocket and not fast enough to outrun everybody.
Draw on 2nd and 29. Mustard Out to the 38-yard line. The 3rd and a mile upcoming. Let's check in with Greg Gumbel for an NFL update in New York.
All right, Sean, at Pittsburgh, here's how the Minnesota Steelers game ended. Quad Reves from 36 yards out as time expires. The Vikings win it 6-3 and win their first NFC Central Division championship since 1989. Sean?
Thanks, Greg. Hank, who would have thought that was possible when the season began? Minnesota winning the division.
The only thing about Minnesota, you know, they've always had very good talent. I don't think they really expressed that talent nearly as much as they hoped they would, but they're expressing it now, which is a great compliment to their new coach, Green.
3rd down and 27. 4-man rush. Harbaugh. Even if it's picked off, it's as good as a punt, and it's incomplete. Intended for Anthony Morgan. He was double covered by William White and Ray Crockett.
As I mentioned, offensively, the Bears looked a little confused, and it's justified because I don't think they really anticipated getting as many blitzes and the variety of defenses that they're getting here so far. They have got to make some kind of an adjustment and clear up the problem and start moving the football.
Gardocki with another beauty. Mel Gray juggled it and then goes down immediately, lost the football, but they're whistling him down. Maurice Douglas was the man who put the hit on Mel Gray and knocked the ball free, but Gray was down. A 49-yard punt.
Get on the 35.
On their last drive, the Lions went 93 yards for a touchdown. This time they'll have to go 90 for a score. And they're off to a good start in that direction as Barry Sanders is free. All the way out to the 44-yard line. Bears are saying they have stripped the ball, but they marked Sanders down at the 44 after a gain of 34. 8 carries and 65 yards now for Barry Sanders.
He's amazing. You talk about a guy that makes things happen. Watch this run now. A draw play. Look at it now. Look at reaction. Look at the hole. Big hole. Beautiful blocking at the point of attack. He's got very deceptive speed. Look at the way he outruns people they had the angle on him, and he still outran him and went down the sideline. And he's still fooling around on the sideline trying to get every inch that he can possibly get.
Whistle stopped the play. I don't think the Lions got it off in time. Play clock had run out. They had to use 2 timeouts to avoid this earlier. This time they did not.
5-yard penalty, still first down.
Detroit is dominating the game, 10-0 on the scoreboard, 204 to 41 in total yardage.
And how about passing yardage? Chicago 3 yards passing. Detroit 128.
Lamar Leachman, the defensive line coach, has to be pleased with what his men have done to this point. 7.5 minutes to play in the first half on 1st and 15. That's the first NFL carry for Ed Tillison, the rookie out of Northwest Missouri State. There have only been 10 carries this year by running backs other than Barry Sanders for Detroit. Troy Stratford, who was released, had 9 carries, and that's the first ever for Ed Tillison, the first player ever drafted out of Northwest Missouri State. He was an 11th round selection this year by the Lions. He gained 1. 2nd down and 9. Rather, he gained 6 after the penalty. And Sanders gains 1. To the 46-yard line, John Roper made the tackle. Wayne Fontes told us yesterday that despite the continuing rash of injuries to his offensive line, that unit is playing better and better. And what's my line has indeed been the question for Wayne Fontes. 13 different offensive linemen have played for Detroit this year.
And the only consistent guy who played that left tackle position consistently this year is Lomas Brown.
Fontes looking at 3rd down and 8. Flag thrown. It looked like the Bears were offside. That's an incomplete forward pass as Dent put the hit on Ware. And it looked like it was Dent who jumped across the line ahead of the snap.
Well, he really came off the ball quickly on that play. Richard Dent, number 95.
A little too quickly.
Yes, he did.
Offside on the defense, number 95. 5-yard penalty. Repeat third down.
All right, here's Dent. Right here. Here's Dent, and here's Lomas Brown. Look at this matchup here. Watch the matchup. Look at the two guys fighting for that position. One to keep him away from the quarterback, and the other guy to get the quarterback. He got around again. Lomas Brown's a little slow with that left foot, getting it back there at a good angle.
Again, a quarterback draw wasn't there, so Ware tries to make something out of it, and he did. He picked up the first down. A 4-yard gain to the 45 of Chicago.
I tell you something, boy, the way Sanders, we talked about it at the beginning of the show, but the way Sanders runs, and now you got a guy like Ware who can make something happen also on his own, a spontaneous reaction, looked like a quarterback draw. It wasn't there up the middle. He runs outside. He's got the ball in the wrong arm, however, and that's when you carry. When you run to the left with the ball in the right arm, well, that's when you're going to get the fumbles.
And I think we have the makings of a quarterback controversy here in Detroit. If Wayne Fontes is going to continue to maintain that Rodney Peete is clearly number one, because Ware has been impressive for 1 game and a half. And he continues impressive. On the money to Willie Green, who was out of action last week, serving a 1-game suspension for a run-in he had with offensive coordinator Dan Henning 2 weeks ago. But Wayne Fontes says that's all in the past now.
You know, the better and the more Ware plays, the more confidence he's going to get. Lomas Brown said in the game last week he was amazed how he took control in the huddle. Great leadership qualities, and he took the chalk and used it throughout the ball game. He had control.
1st and 10 at the Chicago 31. The Lions lead 10-0. We're down to 4:35 remaining in the second quarter.
Look at all the room on that right side.
And they run the cross through the right side. Sanders nearly went down, got back up again, and made it to the 24, a gain of 7 before Chris Zorich is credited with the stop.
They ran inside the defensive end. The end was out there very wide, and he had a triple wing formation, 3 receivers on the right side, which reduced the formation, and he was able to find running room inside and took advantage of it.
Ware 6 of 9 passing for 142 yards and an interception. 2nd down and 3.
Blitz.
Option was not handled by Sanders. Richard Dent recovers for the Bears at the 38-yard line. A huge play for Chicago. 2nd turnover of the game for Detroit.
Watch the pitch now. There's a blitz up the middle. See, but he got rid of the ball so quickly there was no option. And Dent was on the outside position, and made the play and recover the ball. Lomas Brown, the left tackle, 75. See, they're supposed to option off of Dent, but Dent didn't have to worry about the option because he ran right on the outside of Brown, made the play, and now the Bears have possession with good field position.
They've done nothing on offense to this point. Harbaugh 2 of 4 for 13 yards. And looking to throw on 1st down. Now he'll run. And he picks up 7 out to the 45. That's been the best offense for Chicago to this point. Jim Harbaugh scrambling for yardage.
Good decision on the part of Jim Harbaugh on the play. Goes back in the pocket, no place to throw the football, saw a little cavity inside, took advantage of it, and picked up 7. Just good athletic ability on the play.
Greg Landry back on the sidelines for the 2nd straight week. He spent 1 week upstairs in the coach's box. Was the subject of some conversation around Chicago a couple of weeks back. Anderson with a flag down in the Lion territory and out of bounds at the 39-yard line, but a flag was thrown at the line of scrimmage. Holding against the Bears. It will come back.
That's what kills you, you know, when you have a big play, especially when you're struggling.
Holding number 58 on the offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
Jay Lewinberg, the center, guilty of holding. That backs the Bears up to the 35-yard line. 2nd and 13. The time becoming a factor as well. 2:35 left in the half. The Bears with all 3 of their timeouts remaining. 4-man rush. Harbaugh incomplete. Off the hands of Wendell Davis.
Harbaugh's pass intended for Davis. Incomplete.
Harbaugh playing in front of a lot of friends from his days at Michigan and family here today. His parents, Jack and Jackie, are in attendance, and Bo Schembechler, his coach at the University of Michigan, is also here today watching Jim Harbaugh. Harbaugh and Bo Schembechler are very close. Jim told us yesterday that he spoke with Bo Schembechler a couple of times this week. 3rd and 13. Bears 1 of 4 on 3rd down today. Harbaugh incomplete. He had a lot of running room but needed 13 yards, so tried to thread it through the hole when he missed Anthony Morgan.
Yeah, that kind of a play, there was a big hole right up the middle, and as you mentioned, Sean, it looked like he really maybe could have run for the first down. There was a big hole right up in the middle of the field. 6 defensive backs, and they're playing very deep, so it created a big vacuum right there in the middle of the field.
Jeff Campbell now back to receive the punt after the knee injury to Mel Gray. Another boomer by Gardocki. Campbell started at the 12, and he's tripped up from behind at the 17-yard line. 53-yard punt and a 5-yard return. With 2:06 to play in the first half, Detroit leads Chicago 10-0. And the Lions are back on offense. They'll begin 1st and 10 at their own 17-yard line, led by Andre Ware, who was quite candid when we spoke with him yesterday about the way he has been handled here in Detroit since being the Lions' first-round selection in 1990. He said most highly rated quarterbacks coming out of college who are top draft picks get a chance to play when the team is way behind or way ahead, but that hasn't been the case for me. He's getting a chance to start today and will next week as well. And he's making it work for himself, but not there. They're trying to run the option again, but Sanders didn't go with them. Trace Armstrong made the play for Chicago. And that takes us to the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes to play in the first half. Wayne Fonts and the Lions up 10-0. That's right. They have to be a little perplexed by a broken play on the last play, considering it came following a TV timeout. They had all kinds of time to get on the same page.
Yeah, I think what happened on the play, the outside linebacker blitzed on the play, and as a result, Ware saw that and didn't want to take a chance at pitching the ball and just ate it himself.
2nd and 16.
Look at all the room on the left side here, receiver-wise, one-on-one.
Ware was looking in that direction, but now he's sacked. Steve McMichael took him down. Chris Zorich was also there.
Ware sacked by Zorich.
McMichael now gets good penetration. So he's a little confused. And there's the tackle on Andre Ware.
And the Bears use a timeout. It's first time out of the half, trying to get the football back in excellent field position with the Lions looking at 3rd down and 19 from their own 8-yard line. Ware with all day to throw, going deep for Herman Moore. A juggling catch. He made it at the 33-yard line. where did he throw that ball in the air? Almost out of the end zone it appeared, and Moore caught it well into Chicago territory.
Well, you talk about, he just goes right down the field. Wolford is coming from the outside. Now, you see, he takes a little hesitation, but Wolford stays outside, which means he's getting help on the inside. But the inside help with Carrier didn't get there fast enough.
Now Willie Green, the catch, out of bounds at the 21-yard line. That stops the clock with 1:16 remaining.
Here again, watch this now. Wolford's playing him on his outside, and Carrier is supposed to be helping him on the inside. He didn't get there quickly enough, and he was able to make a sensational catch on the play.
Ware had to throw that ball 60 yards in the air.
Has he got a gun or what?
1:06 on the game.
Bernie Kutar instructing the timer to put 1:06 on the game clock. You saw that it's 1:16 showing, so they'll tick down to 10 seconds. With Detroit looking at 1st and 10, just inside the Chicago 21-yard line. Looked like the Bears were going to get it back in excellent field position, but the huge play, Ware to Herman Moore.
Looking on the right side again. Look at that one-on-one.
Ware to the end zone. Willie Green. Incomplete. Broken up by Lemuel Stinson.
Good reaction on the part of Stinson. Watch this. Look how high he goes up for the ball, but he gets his hand between the receiver's two hands and knocks the ball right out of there. It falls incomplete.
Stinson in his 5th year out of Texas Tech denied Andre Ware in his bid for his first touchdown pass of the day.
See, but the room is easy. It's like stealing over on that right side. Look at the flanker on the right side, and look at the defensive back Wolford on the same side. Look how much room he's got. Now they're changing the coverage. Look at all the room on our side.
Ware completed 6 in a row before that last incompletion. He throws on the run. Incomplete and nearly intercepted. Donnell Wolford nearly picked it off, and that's one of the concerns the Lion coaching staff has about Andre Ware. He doesn't always make good decisions, and that was not a good one.
No, the thing that really was wrong about the play was the fact that he had an open receiver on the right side with a big cushion by the defensive back. All he had to do was go back in the pocket and throw the ball out there without anything fancy. He ran out that way to the right side, moved out of the pocket, and then tried to throw it. And by that time, there were too many folks over there to make a play.
215 yards in the half for Andre Ware on just 8 completions. Lions 4 of 5 on 3rd down today. Under pressure, Ware had to get rid of it, and this pass was well short of Barry Sanders. It was Richard Dent who was pressuring Andre Ware.
Can't understand why they can't see the flanker on the right side. He's so open, it's ridiculous. And he never even took a peek over there that time.
So now Jason Hansen comes on to try a field goal of 38 yards. He's 13 for 13 from inside 40 yards this year. He and Jim Breach of Cincinnati, the only 2 kickers in the league perfect from inside 40 this year. It's good. With 42 seconds left in the half, 13-0
Lions. Remember the 50s? Well, Wendy's is bringing them back.
Nothing. The Bears will get it back with under a minute to play in the half and with 2 timeouts remaining. And this was the play that turned the whole last sequence around. They were looking at 3rd and forever. And Andre Ware from the goal line throws it about 60 yards in the air. Herman Moore winds up taking it down to the 33. It was 3rd and 19 when they completed that one.
And Wolford, again, as I mentioned, say it wasn't man for man. He covered from the outside, and Carrier was supposed to be coming from the inside.
Darren Lewis driven back at the 26. Coming up on the NFL Today halftime report, Greg and Terry will have all the scores, highlights, and latest playoff information from today's NFL action. what do you do, Hank, if you're Jim Harbaugh and the Bears down 13-0 with 2 timeouts left?
Well, two things. You'd like to try to make something happen, but along with it, you see, if you're not careful, you'll have to do a stupid thing and cough the ball up and provide Detroit with another opportunity to maybe get 3 or another 6 before the half.
And a timeout on the field. They're tending to a Detroit player. We mentioned Jim Harbaugh expected Bo Schembechler to be here today, and Bo is indeed here in the Lions box. That's Lions general manager Chuck Schmidt to the left of Bo Schembechler. Having a tough half, only 2 of 6 for 13 yards. Toby Castone was the injured Lion. And now they're ready to go 1st and 10 from the 26. Harbaugh on the money to Dennis Gentry. He's driven back at the 35. That's his first catch of the day. And for Gentry, just his 12th reception of the year. They have 2 timeouts left, but the clock continues to run down to 18 seconds.
Well, the way the Lions have dominated this first half, the Bears are really lucky that it's only 13.
Well, now they use a timeout on the handoff to Neil Anderson. The clock is stopped with 7 seconds left. They did pick up the first down with the running play. It started into an animated stroll along the sideline, it appeared, then put the brakes on. He was not in a very pleasant mood when we went to chat with him yesterday. So we're 5-9. The record speaks for itself. We're not very good. We hope to get better. What else can I tell you? That's about all he told us.
I was in San Francisco doing that game, so I didn't have the opportunity to see Mike yesterday.
But you didn't miss much, Hank.
No, I understand, yeah. But he's a great competitor. You have to know Mike. He's a great competitor. He doesn't like to lose, and he's going to tell you the way it is. You might not like to hear what he says, but that's what he does.
Out at the 38-yard line are the Bears with 7 seconds left.
Mike is really massaging that gum, isn't he?
That's intercepted by William White. He fumbles, and the Bears recover. John Wojciechowski recovered the fumble, and what a way to end the first half. At the end of the first half, the score, the Detroit Lions 13 and the Chicago Bears nothing. 9 total yards to 60, with a particular edge in passing yardage as Ware threw it for 211.
People in Detroit have to be very excited about the way he played last week, and of course the way he played so far in the first half.
Harbaugh, meanwhile, struggled through the first half. It looked like the receivers were having a tough time getting open. A couple of times he had time to throw, but had to pull it down and run with it when he couldn't find anybody in the clear. Muster is open. He gave the stiff arm to Benny Blades and picked up an extra yard or 2. That's the first catch of the day for Muster, who led the team in receptions in 1990 with 47. This game is presented by authority of the National Football League, and this CBS telecast is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of CBS, the Detroit Lions, and the National Football League is prohibited. The pass to Muster picked up 8. 2nd down and 2. Aaron Lewis gets a block from Muster and picks up the first down. He stepped into Lion territory at the 49. William White chased him out, and Lamar Leachman hit the deck.
And I think the Bears are smart enough at halftime to know that they've still got a very good chance to get back into this game. You have to remember that it's 4 quarters and just not 2, but they have to be patient. They can't just be reckless about what they do.
Watch the defensive line coach here at the end. He went into the quarterback slide to avoid.
And he didn't even get up off the ground and get in a hitting position either. He just lay there, didn't he?
I think if his defensive lineman used that technique, he'd be a little upset. Harbaugh facing a blitz. And there was contact in the secondary, but no flag. He was looking for Keith Jennings, and now Harbaugh's looking for the flag. No question that Jennings collided with a Lion defender over the middle.
If he looked hard enough for that flag, he'd find it in the back pocket of the official. Didn't move it. But again, I think they have to be patient. They have to throw the ball and take what they're being given. You see the collision here. Look at this.
Well, that's 10 yards down the field. And the ball's in the air.
But here again, if the defensive back is standing there, you can't run right through the defensive back. So it wasn't pass interference.
2nd and 10. Harbaugh to the near side. Lewis heard the footsteps of Kevin Scott and dropped the football. 3rd and 10. Chicago 4 punts after their first 4 possessions, and then the interception to end the half. The deepest penetration is the 45-yard line of Detroit. They're at the 49 of the Lions now.
And as I mentioned, you know, as bad as they looked in the first half, they still got a chance to come back if they could do something and get some points on the scoreboard and get back in this game.
The Bears 1 of 5 on 3rd down. On 3rd and 10. Harbaugh ran away from Pritchett, and it's incomplete. Again, Kevin Scott there to break up the pass intended for Wendell Davis. Scott in his 2nd year out of Stanford leads the team with 4 interceptions. He's tied with Melvin Jenkins for the team lead in that category. Cleveland, he has them ahead 13-0 here after an impressive first half. I think a question Lion fans would be asking, where has this guy been? He's been here for 3 years without playing.
Well, you know, the funny thing about it is 3 years ago we did a game here, and I had an interview with Wayne Fonts before the game. And before the game, I asked Wayne what would have to happen to get Andre Ware in the game. Without any deliberation at all, he responded by saying, if we're ahead by 85 or losing by 85, we'll put the kid in the game. Things have changed considerably since that time.
He has time to throw, and a man wide open. Barry Sanders. One man to beat. It's Carrier who saved the touchdown at the 33-yard line. A 48-yard gain.
See, that had to be a mismatch. Sanders was anchored on the outside, it looked like. And Singletary didn't get to him. Watch what happens. See, there he goes outside, right down the sideline. Broke coverage. Singletary is in hot pursuit. He can't catch him. How in the world they would expect him to try to make that kind of a play? There was too much time. Get down the field too far, and a big gain by the Lions.
One of the things Singletary won't miss when he retires at the end of the year is trying to chase Barry Sanders. Believe it or not, that 48-yard completion, the longest reception of Sanders' career. He got the carry on 1st and 10 at the 32 and took it down to the 27, a gain of 5. William Perry made the tackle.
There was a lot of speculation about the change in the personality of this offense because they were basically a run and shoot kind of a team until this year. And Dan Henne came in with the tight end concept like he used at Washington and also San Diego, incorporated that into this style of play, and the combination of both things have been very effective, especially as of late.
Sanders again. He has rushed for 78 yards prior to this carry. He got to the 25-yard line for a gain of 2. Sean Gale chased him out. San Diego Chargers in control of the AFC West and rolling toward the title. They started out 0-4.
And Denver still got a shot because this 7-3, if they win this game this week, they play Kansas City in Kansas City, and if they were to win that game, they'd have a chance to get into the playoffs instead of Kansas City.
Vince Tolden contending with the passing of Ware and the running of Sanders. And facing 3rd down and 3 on the Lions at the 25. 4 minutes played, 3rd quarter. 13-0 Detroit. They were coming on a blitz, and that might have induced movement from the offensive line.
Ball start, number 66 on the offense prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty.
Sounded like Richard Dent was saying it's about time, much to the amusement of Ernie Kukar. Sean Bowen's guilty of the movement. And there are the standings in the AFC West. Bobby Ross has the Chargers in control of their own destiny. They clinched a playoff berth with a win today, do the Chargers, and they're on their way to a win over the Raiders.
Look at all the, and they bring the man in motion.
On 3rd and 8, Ware intercepted. Donnell Wolford second. And the second thrown by Andre Ware today. 4th Lion turnover. They would be blowing out the Bears were it not for these costly mistakes.
So he's moving the pocket a little bit, just a little bit to the right side and throwing right into coverage. You didn't see the cornerback coming over, Wolford, and Wolford watched the quarterback's eyes and made the interception.
Wolford. This is the worst field position to start for Chicago. If they pick up a first down on the completion of Neil Anderson out to the 26-yard line, that's a gain of 16. Well, we've seen a little bit of why Andre Ware has not been used in the past by the Detroit Lions. They said the two biggest problems that he's had, lack of accuracy, and sometimes he's made poor decisions, and on the interception by Wolford, a little bit of each.
Yeah, I tell you, the only thing about that is when a guy's got this much talent and ability and skill, you let him play. You let him work himself out of that. I see a lot of veteran quarterbacks in the league do the same thing, and they've been in the league for a long time. A lot of people make mistakes, so you can't condemn a young quarterback for making a couple after he started his second game.
Anderson to the 28, a gain of 2.
I think the Bears have to go on some quick counts too. You know, Sean, they look like they're going on the same count most of the time, and the Lions are changing their coverages and changing their alignment an awful lot. If you go on a quick count, they can't do all that changing. You might catch them in a moment of indecision and get some good, big plays and good gains on that kind of a call.
9:20 to play, third quarter. 2nd down and 7. Lions up 13-0 on a 6-yard touchdown run by Barry Sanders and 2 Jason Hansen field goals, all of it in the first half. Muster ran by a blitz and picks up a first down out to the 45. Benny Blades made the stop. 16 yards for Brad Muster.
That was a trap play. Mark Bortz, number 62, the left guard, trapping on the play, pulling from left to the right. Watch him coming through here. Now look at that. Going through the hole, makes a nice block in the middle of the formation. And a nice gain on the play.
Mark Bortz, the starter since 1984 for the Bears. He was in the Pro Bowl last year.
See all the movement, the running around by the Lions. If you go on a first count, why you eliminate that problem.
Harbaugh scrambling. And open. First down Chicago. Anthony Morgan down to the 38-yard line of Detroit. 17-yard gain, deepest penetration of the day for the Bears.
Morgan's the inside receiver on the slot. Now he goes down the field. Look at this. And he's wide open in the void of the zone. There's a hole right outside the hash marks. Takes him a little time to find him. But that's the void in the zone, and he hit him for a nice big gain on the play.
2 catches today, 9 for the year for Anthony Morgan in his second year out of Tennessee. One of 9 Tennessee players drafted in 1991. Back to the ground for a gain of 3 for Chicago. Chris Spielman made the stop on Neil Anderson.
And here again, as bad as the first half looked for the Bears, they're still very much have a chance to get back into this game, especially if they can score in this drive.
The Lions have to be thinking about all the squandered opportunities to put more points on the board. 13-0 Detroit. We're ticked down towards 7 minutes remaining in the third quarter. 2nd and 7 from the 35 of the line. And Mark Spindler jumped across the line.
See, they're trying to anticipate the rhythm of the count, and that time they jumped offside, but you have to have somebody on the sideline. We always have somebody on the sideline.
Encroachment, number 92 on the defense prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty, 2-second down.
Keeping track of the cadence. See, we want to always make sure Lenny'd come over. We'd say, Lenny, listen, you gotta go on quick counts. You gotta go on 1. You gotta go on 2. You gotta go on 3. You can't keep going on 2. If you're not careful, you go on 2 an awful lot, and they get the rhythm of the count.
Off the pile and picked up the first down at the 27. Again, Chris Spielman was at the bottom of the pile. Aaron Lewis, 5th on the all-time NCAA career rushing list, and he's behind distinguished company: Tony Dorsett, Charles White, Herschel Walker, and Archie Griffin. You're number 5 behind that crowd. That's not too shabby.
And Lewis, great competitor, loves to play, loves to run. Very enthusiastic runner.
1st and 10. Most impressive drive by far for Chicago today. Anderson turns the corner. And a late flag thrown in. He might have hit Anderson out of bounds. You saw that they were really picky about that in the first half. Might not necessarily be. Yes, it is a personal foul. One of the Lions was indicating it was a holding call against Chicago. He wasn't wearing a striped shirt.
In the tight end that time, Kelly Blackwell.
Number 24 on the defense, late hit out of bounds, half the distance to the goal line. First down.
It was Jenkins who was called for that in the first half, and what looked to be a bad call, and he's called for it again this time.
Watch Jenkins.
That's a good call.
Yeah, there's no question about that. He was way out of bounds when he made the hit. Way out of bounds.
That gives the Bears a first down just outside the 10. They could pick up a first down again, inches from the goal line. And the crowd is deafening. Harbaugh threw it behind Muster, and it was nearly picked off by Ray Crockett.
Harbaugh's pass is complete.
2nd and 10 from just outside the 10. 5:14 to play, 3rd quarter. Detroit 13 and Chicago nothing.
This is a good drive by the Bears, but they have to get it in.
There's a lot about this rivalry when you hear this kind of crowd noise in a game between a 5-9 and a 4-10 team. Lewis into the pile. He drives ahead inside the 7. It was Chris Spielman again.
Chris Spielman on the tackle.
I tell you, Spielman's a great linebacker between those tackles. He loves that little area in there that he controls and patrols, and does a super job of making tackles. Number 54.
Spielman, a Pro Bowler each of the last 3 years, and you'd have to think he's heading back to the Pro Bowl again this year. 10th play of the drive for Harbaugh. 3rd and 6. They can pick up a first down, but it's to be just inches from the goal line. Flags down. It looked like there was movement along the right side of the Bears' offensive line. And the crowd noise undoubtedly had something to do with that.
Ball start. Number 70 on the offense prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Troy Auzine, the rookie tackle who has started every game for Chicago this year, committed the penalty. He's the 2nd-round choice of the Bears this year.
Yeah, and I think that had to be a noise problem. They didn't hear it.
back at the 11. And out of the shotgun. Anderson on a running play. They went to the ground on 3rd down and 11. And he was stopped well short of the goal line. Will they kick the field goal or go for it? Down by 13 in the final 4 minutes of the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, I think they got to get points. They have to get points.
Ditka thought about it for a moment. You saw him send Kevin Butler out.
Yeah, it'd be a killer if he went for it and didn't make it. You have to kick a field goal here and get something on the board.
Were you surprised by the running play in that situation?
Yeah, I was. But here again, you think because you're in a shotgun, they think you're going to throw the ball, you think you're going to cross them up, and you fool yourself.
Harbaugh, the holder, a 24-yard attempt for the 8-year veteran Kevin Butler. And the Bears are on the board. With 3:09 to play in the 3rd quarter. Detroit 13, Chicago 3.
It's time for...
Happy to have you with us from the Silverdome in Pontiac. 13-3 Detroit. Chicago just on the board on a field goal of 24 yards by Kevin Butler. Chris Gardocki will kick off. Mel Gray is out for the remainder of the game with a sprained right knee, so it's Jeff Campbell back to receive the kickoff. Toby Castone, a special team standout, has also left the game for Detroit with a sprained left knee. He will not return.
And you got to be careful with Campbell. He does a good job of bringing those kicks back, too.
They'll have a chance to bring this one back. He started at the goal line and is stopped short of the 20. Hammered down at the 16. Excellent coverage on special teams. Barry Wagner and Alonzo Spellman down there for Chicago. Doubleheader action continues next Sunday on CBS. Most of you will see the NFC Central battle between the Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings, or the New York Giants and the Philadelphia Eagles. Game 2 finds the Bears heading south to take on the Dallas Cowboys, and it all gets underway at 12:30 Eastern Time for the NFL Today, the last word before kickoff. They thought with the walk-up today they'd have a sellout of about 80,000 here at the Silverdome, and it appears that they achieved that goal. Tough to find an empty seat as you look around the house. Ware on 1st down to Brett Perriman. Tried to shake Richard Payne but could not. He'll mark his forward progress out to the 24. A gain of 7 for Perriman, 50-year man out of the University of Miami at Florida. Some key NFC games with playoff implications next week. The Giants at Philadelphia, the Raiders at Washington, Green Bay at Minnesota. Philadelphia clinched a playoff spot with their win over Washington today. Green Bay must win next week and have Washington lose to make the playoffs and eliminate the Redskins. Minnesota wrapped up the NFC Central with its last second win at Pittsburgh today. On 2nd and short, a quick hitter to Willie Green. He shed Stinson, and it was up to Mark Carrier to come over and make the tackle. Out at the 39, a gain of 14 for Willie Green.
Good balance on the play now. It's just nothing but a little square out one-on-one on the outside, a little hitch pattern. Look at now, watch, breaks his fall with his hand again, 3 times, and makes extra 8 yards on the play.
3
Terrific
catches
job
today.
by Green.
And he has 3 catches today, pardon me, Hank, for 41 yards. Green only had 1 catch in the previous 3 games in which he had appeared, and that was part of the reason for his shouting match with Dan Henning 2 weeks ago that Green suspended for last week's game. Under a minute and a half to play in the 3rd quarter. Sanders turned what looked to be a loss into a gain out to the 43.
Some of his best runs are runs of 6, 7, 8 yards, runs whereby he should have been tackled in the backfield, and he stretches the loss into a 5 or 6 or 7 yard gain. The amazing thing about it is the guy never gets hurt.
He's already the Lions' all-time leading rusher in just his 4th season in the NFL. Earlier this year, he moved past Billy Sims atop the Lions' rushing charts. 84 yards today for Barry on 13 carries. He gets it again on the draw. 1st down in Chicago territory at the 47-yard line. Tim Ryan made the stop. 10-yard gain for Sanders. He's closing in on 100. There's Ryan, the third-year defensive end out of USC.
So here again, he's looking. There's a draw play again. He makes a move inside, breaks one tackle, and he still winds up making about 3 extra yards in a play. He's like trying to tackle a roll-away manhole cover. You know, he's murder.
They do not have to run another play in the third quarter, and they will not. That's the end of the third quarter with the score. Detroit 13 at the start of the fourth quarter. As you look at scores from earlier action today in the NFL, Philadelphia secured a playoff spot with its win. Minnesota wrapped up the NFC Central. Green Bay is still on the fence, along with the Washington Redskins. New Orleans is already in as a wild card. Buffalo inch closer to the AFC division title. And the Lions have it 1st and 10 at the 47-yard line of Chicago. Andre Ware in trouble and down in the arms of Trace Armstrong. Second sack for Chicago.
Ware sacked by Armstrong.
Well, the Lions have given up a lot of sacks this year, and they haven't had many when they've been on defense.
San Diego is really a hot team, beating. Watch the pocket cave in on Ware. He's looking good coverage downfield, evidently, and finally Trace Armstrong comes in from the outside, along with a lot of his other pals, and they make a tackle.
7th sack of the year for Armstrong, the Bears' first-round pick back in 1989. 2nd and 17, and he's down again. This time it's Alonzo Spellman, the first-round pick of the Bears this year out of Ohio State.
Andre Ware sacked by Alonzo Spellman.
Right side of the screen now. Watch Spellman on the right side. Now there he comes into the picture and makes the hit.
That's his 3rd sack of the year. 2 of them have come against the Lions. He had one in the season opener, the 27-24 Chicago win. Detroit has now surrendered 51 sacks this year, and they've only had 25 sacks themselves. Ware, with 2 seconds on the play clock, called timeout. 13:53 to play. Back in just to be the signal caller. Andre Ware just burned a timeout in 3rd and 24. That's what they're facing with 13:53 to play. Flags down as the Bears were jumping along the line. Sanders tackled by Sean Gale, but it looked like Alonzo Spellman was encroaching.
That's who it was. Number 90.
Spellman, just 21 years old in his rookie season, the 22nd
Offside
player.
on the defense, number 90. 5-yard penalty. Repeat 3rd down.
Selected in the first round of this year's NFL draft. That cuts it down to 3rd down and 19 for Detroit, and it gets the clock running. Lions leading 13-3. Again, unloads deep and incomplete. This time looking for Willie Green. Lemuel Stinson had the coverage. And the Lions are going to punt for the first time today.
Ware's pass to Green, incomplete.
See, that's the nice thing about having a guy with a big gun like that, 3rd and long. You can go for that kind of a play, and if it's incomplete, why, so what? So then you kick it. But you always got a chance of making a reception, plus the fact that you always have a chance of pass interference also on the play to give you the first down in good field position.
Janelle Wolford waiting to return the punt, the first of the day from Arnold. You saw Arnold's numbers, a 43.6-yard average if the season ended today. This would be the 2nd best season in terms of punting average of his 10-year career. That'll help the average. There is a flag down to the line of scrimmage. Wolford out of bounds at the 23. A 49-yard punt, a 16-yard return, but there is a flag at the line. Silverdome. 13-3 in favor of Detroit. Another dandy. Big bounce at the 2 and into the end zone. A 61-yard punt. And will come out to the 20. The Bears lost 3 yards in that exchange. We'll return to the Silverdome. 1st and 10 Chicago. They need to get something going, down by 10 points with 13 minutes to play. The Lions lead 13-3. Four-man rush. Harbaugh complete to the tight end, Keith Jennings. He picked up 7. First catch of the day by Jennings. Chicago got off to a good start this year with that thrilling last-second win over the Lions in the opener at Soldier Field. They won it on a touchdown pass in the final second. Harbaugh to Tom Waddle. At one time, they were 4-3, but then 6 straight losses before the win last week snapped the losing streak, and they are 5-9.
And some close games in there, too, in those losses. And that's when you have your good year. You got to win the close game.
2nd and 3. Kelly Blackwell, the tight end, was in motion, and he's the target of the pass. Taken out of bounds by Troy Johnson, but not before he took it out to the 38-yard line for a gain of 11. Let's check in again. Greg Gumbel.
All right, Sean, this was the scene at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia today. Redskins and the Eagles. Randall Cunningham from 28 yards out. Terrific catch by Calvin Williams, the ultimate game winner. The Eagles win at 17-13 and clinch a playoff spot in the NFC. Sean?
And Leslie Visser had the report on the NFL today about the turmoil in Philadelphia, but with that kind of talent, they've been able to overcome it. 1st and 10 Chicago. At the 39-yard line. 11.5 minutes to be played here in the 4th quarter. Quick hitter is short. Davis turned and was open, but Harbaugh one-hopped him. The standings in the NFC East reflect the Philadelphia win earlier today. Washington with the loss, now 9-6. Dallas started the day needing a Philadelphia loss to clinch the NFC East. They can clinch the division with a win tomorrow night in Atlanta. 2nd and 10.
They got bump and run. See if they try to do something up on top to try to get a big play. Here they come.
A blitz. Harbaugh incomplete. Intended for Lewis. Lewis has had a couple of catchable balls today that he hasn't been able to come up with.
He held on to the ball a little bit too long in the last 2 passes. That's why they went into the ground like they did. Got to release it just a little bit sooner to keep it up higher.
Big Landry sends Eric Wright in with the play. It's a big play for Chicago with time running down. Only 1 for 7 on 3rd down today are the Chicago Bears. This is 3rd and 10 with 11:21 to play. 13-3 Detroit. Harbaugh will run for it. He put his head down and came up just short, it would appear.
I tell you, he made a great try for that 1st down. I don't know whether he made it or not. Let's see how they mark it.
He might have it. Yes, he did, and he deserves it with that effort.
Yeah, his head was beyond the marker, but I couldn't tell whether his knee hit the ground at first.
Like the first official
down.
ran in and was going to spot him down about a yard short, but you can see where they put it. He picked it up by about a foot.
See, he takes off to the outside. It's a great effort on the part of Harbaugh.
The crowd groans. They've already seen the replay ahead of you, and it looked like he got a very generous spot. They gave him the bounce and the roll over. And Chuck Schmidt says to Bo Schembechler, here's the replay again on the big screen. And the crowd boos again They definitely got a favorable spot. Did the Bears, and they'll take it. They need it. Blitz.
Rush.
Crockett hit Harbaugh. It's a free ball. Recovered by Detroit. Ray Crockett came on the corner blitz and knocked it free from Harbaugh. Wayne Fonts and the Lions get it back at midfield. Lawrence Pete with the recovery.
Here we see it from the backside. Look at this. He never saw him at all. Had no idea. He was concentrating so much on trying to get rid of the football. He did see the blitz coming on the outside and fumble the football.
Detroit leads 13-3. It was 13-0 at halftime. We're down to 10:21 left in the fourth quarter. Andre Ware with a career high 284 yards, but he has thrown 2 interceptions. Barry Sanders has been Barry Sanders. Detroit has dominated the passing game today. And Chicago just committed its second turnover, and a big one when they were starting to move again. They played the Lions fairly even here in the second half after being dominated in the first half. From the midfield stripe, 1st and 10, Detroit. Sanders. Good push by the offensive line that time. He was 3 yards downfield before anybody in a white shirt got a finger on him.
And Sanders does a good job of staying behind those blockers. Keeps his head up and the eyes open until he sees some kind of a gap, and then he'll hit it. That time it just went with the flow of the pile and picked up a nice gain on the play.
Sanders 1 yard shy of 100. It would be his 6th 100-yard rushing game of the season. Second and 5. 9:40 to play.
Look at the receiver on the left outside. If he wants to throw the ball out there, look at big hole.
They stay with Sanders, trying to run some time off the clock, which is the ally of Detroit. And that is the 6th 100-yard game of the season for Sanders and the 25th of his 4-year NFL career. Mike Singletary made the stop in his last game against Detroit. And not in the lineup today against Chicago is Jerry Ball, out for the remainder of the year with a high ankle sprain. He's played much of the year with that sprained ankle. He was placed on IR earlier this week. From the 39. 1st and 10. 8:50 to play. Ware runs away from Armstrong and now goes into the slide just about at the line of scrimmage as Roper and Dent were closing in fast.
He'd have been thrown out of second base with that slide. But he was smart enough to try.
Terry Bradshaw mentioned at halftime the possibility of Ware's being traded, and he said, I really wouldn't care. I'd like to stay here if I'm going to play, but if they trade me and I can play someplace else, I'd be just as happy with that. He was the Heisman Trophy winner in 1989 after his junior season, his final season at the University of Houston.
I tell you, if he can't play, we got to really have a scoop. He ought to be a good one.
There's Rodney Peete, still the #1 quarterback, at least at the start of the day, according to Wayne Fonts. Ware the pump fake and throws over the middle to the tight end, Thomas McLemore. That's just his 2nd NFL catch, the rookie out of Southern University.
Ware and McDonough for the pass completion. Tackled by Singletary.
72,777 the attendance at the Silverdome this afternoon. The Lions with their highest average attendance per game since 1983. This is the final home game of their season. One guy among the 72,000 plus who's not particularly happy at the moment is Mike Ditka. 3rd down and 4 at the 33 of Chicago. Lions have run more than 3 minutes off the clock in this possession. They took too much time on the clock that time, and a delay of game penalty has been whistled against Detroit.
Delay of game on the offense. 5-yard penalty Still third down.
Ware has had a little bit of a problem with that today. This has been a heartbreaking season in so many ways for the Lions, both on and off the field. After a 12-4 season a year ago and a division title, they are 4-10 at the moment. And it really started on the wrong track with that last-second loss at Chicago on opening day.
And they're still looking desperately for a pass rusher. They haven't been able to find one. They've got to get one to help that defense. They also have to be concerned about offensive linemen.
Now the Bears return the favor. Again, it looked like Spellman jumped across.
Encroachment. Number 90 on the defense prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
Oh, just seconds after the Lions took their third delay of game penalty. And Andre Ware has also burned 3 timeouts to avoid delay of game penalties today. The Bears give the 5 yards back. Spellman is offside again. Both teams heavily penalized today. Vince Tobin's defense needs a stop here on 3rd down and 4. At the 33-yard line. They blitz. Singletary takes him down. Late flag thrown along the far sideline.
Singletary's tried to explain to him that it wasn't a late hit.
There is a flag on the play. Illegal motion against Detroit. That will be declined.
An illegal motion on the offense. 2 men moving. Penalty is declined.
Okay, watch Singletary blitzing on the play right up the middle. See that he isn't picked up. Nobody touches him. Goes right up the middle and gets the hit.
5th sack of the day for Chicago. Jim Arnold under a heavy rush, angling for the corner. He did the job. They'll spot it out. He's still walking at the 13-yard line. We'll be back with 5:44 to play in just...
Isotoner gloves for men, the perfect gift because they're the perfect fit. And by Bic Twin Select for normal and sensitive skin. There's a Bic for every beard.
Detroit has not scored here in the second half, but the Lions still lead 13-3 with 5:44 remaining. Chicago in possession of the ball, 1st and 10 at their own 12-yard line. Andre Ware 12 for 20 today for 290 yards. Jim Harbaugh will work out of the shotgun with 4 wide receivers. And Calvin Pritchett was more than a little bit early.
False start. Number 71 on the offense prior to the snap.
And that's because he was
5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Drawn offside by James Williams, the second-year offensive lineman out of Cheney State. He played on an 0-11 team at Cheney State his senior year. Those are the key remaining games today. San Diego beating the Raiders. Seattle's at Denver. Denver leads that one 10-6. The Jets at Miami tonight. 1st and 15. Harbaugh. Strong throw to the near sideline of Morgan. He retreated and lost a couple after the catch. Spielman took him down to the 11-yard line.
See, that kind of a play, if he makes the catch, he's got to spin and go outside rather than inside because that's where all the folks are coming from. He's got a chance to get a one-on-one if he goes outside, and maybe they'll miss a tackle and he could wind up with a big play.
And a chance to stop the clock from getting out of bounds that he turned to the outside. That picked up 6, 2nd down and 9. Bears with all 3 of their timeouts remaining. Harbaugh taken down by Dan Owens. 4th sack of the day for Detroit. 2nd of the year for Owens. His only other sack came last week against Cleveland.
The Lions really have done a good job with their defense today. They're playing a lot better, I think, than a lot of people thought they could play. And they've had a lot of diversification here this afternoon with regard to alignments and coverages. And it seemed to have confused the Bears somewhat throughout the game.
Essentially, it is the same defensive personnel that helped the Lions go 12-4 last year. They've been very inconsistent this year. Harbaugh to the sideline, caught for a first down. Barry Wagner with his first NFL catch. He is a rookie out of Alabama A&M, just activated today for his first NFL game. He was the MVP of the Arena League this summer, playing for the Orlando Panthers. 16-yard gain on the pass to Wagner.
Got to be thrilled to death to have this opportunity to be up there with the Bears.
4:34 to play, a 10-point lead for Detroit. Harbaugh dumped it off to Anderson. Wisely, he goes out of bounds after a gain to the 29-yard line. That was a pickup of 3. Moments ago, we showed you the key games in the AFC. Here's the playoff picture. Buffalo. Pittsburgh has already wrapped up the division title. Buffalo can clinch the division with a Miami loss tonight. San Diego in control of its own destiny after Kansas City's loss yesterday to the New York Giants. San Diego up on Los Angeles 26-7. Wendell Davis would have had a first down, but he knew he was running into traffic, and he took his eye off the ball to look at the traffic and dropped it. William White is lining him up.
See, it's the slant pattern. He's running an inside course. I don't think Benny Blaze was coming and got the hit, but he evidently took his eye off the ball. That should have been a catch.
Now it has the Bears in a big spot, 3rd and 7 with 4:23 to play. 13-3, Detroit. Four-man rush. Harbaugh with time. It's batted down by Dan Owens. Well, you're down by 10 with 4:17 to go. You go for it or punt?
Well, they're evidently going to punt with the hope maybe that they could get something, recover a fumble or do something on the punt formation. I guess that's what their thinking is.
There was a big drop by Wendell Davis on the second down play. Chris Gardocki's had a terrific day. Jeff Campbell back to receive it. High snap. He came down with it and drills another one. Campbell backed up to the 23 and down to the 24. Bob Christian, playing in his first NFL game out of Northwestern, made the tackle. We'll be back in just a moment. By Larry Cavallina. The coordinating producer of the NFL Today is Eric Mann. The NFL Today is directed by Duke Struck, and the senior producer of the NFL on CBS is Ed Gorin.
Bob ought to put some powder on his nose. It's kind of shiny.
13-3. Detroit, they're trying to put a little polish and the finishing touches on a win over their rivals, the Chicago Bears. They have it 1st and 10 at their own 25. The Bears have all 3 of their timeouts remaining. Last possession, Detroit took nearly 5 minutes off the clock. Sanders tripped up by Trace Armstrong. 4 minutes to go. The Bears use the first of their 3 timeouts. Well, when the season ends, Mike Ditka is going to sit down with Bears president Mike McCaskey and talk about the future, including Ditka's own future as coach of the Chicago Bears. Mike has said that he would like to return. He has 1 year remaining on his contract. But this is a team that needs to do some work in the offseason, Hank. They have a number of weaknesses. Ditka said yesterday that they could use another wide receiver. They could use help in several spots on defense, and the offensive line is shaky.
You know, I think anytime you see the Bears play somebody who has some speed, like this team has some speed, we saw them play against Houston. They also have some speed. It's very obvious when you play against that kind of a team why they magnify your shortcomings. They really expose them, and I think it's very obvious that the Bears need more talent overall, more talent, especially on defense, and better overall team speed. They got to have speed. If you don't have speed in this league, and the way football's being played today, you're not going to win consistently. I guarantee you that.
Almost entirely a homegrown Chicago team. 38 draft picks among the 47 men on the roster today. 38 of their own draft picks. Sanders got away from Roper, and Singletary. Flag thrown in the backfield as Sanders went down to avoid going out of bounds. A heady play by Sanders, but the penalty will stop the clock with 3:48 remaining. I wonder if the penalty was on Andre Ware, because he was complaining vehemently to the referee Bernie Kukar, who threw the flag. It goes back to what you said earlier about Sanders. Sometimes his best runs are 2 or 3 yards.
Illegal block in the back, number 84 on the offense.
Well, it wasn't Ware, but he was pleading the case of
Penalty
Herman
is
Moore.
declined.
And the Bears turn it down. They want the ball back as quickly as possible, so it'll be 3rd down and 6.
You know, Sean, there's been a lot of talk about the run and shoot and how successful Sanders was in a space formation. And I asked him about that, and he said no. He said, I kind of like the tight end situation very, very much, because we have a little bit more variety as far as how we can run the football, and it's really not any kind of a problem. And I really don't think you could just use one formation all the time and succeed. You got to have some diversification on your offensive schemes.
On 3rd and 6, they give it to Sanders. The Bears need to stop him short, and they do. Barry was fighting for it, but the Bears drove him back, led by Ron Cox, a couple of yards short of the 1st down. And Chicago uses its 2nd timeout, leaving the Bears with 1 with 3:38 remaining, and with Detroit leading 13-3. Doubleheader action continues next Sunday on CBS. Most of you will see the NFC Central battle between the Packers and the Vikings. Some of you will see the Giants and the Philadelphia Eagles. Game 2.
I would think they'd have to try to rush this kick and get a block and try to make some kind of a play with their specialty teams. Now they got a return.
They only rushed 3. Arnold, a wobbly kick. It takes a Chicago bounce and goes out of bounds at the 35-yard line. A 33-yard punt with no return.
35-yard line.
I'm surprised they didn't try to make something happen and try to block that kick.
And Jim Harbaugh is not the quarterback. He is on the bench as Peter Tom Willis takes over. Well, as we mentioned, we had the seeds of a quarterback controversy here in Detroit with the performance of Andre Ware, and perhaps the quarterback situation in Chicago is up in the air again as Harbaugh goes back to the bench, and Peter Tom Willis, who started the 2 games while Harbaugh was benched, is back in. And he took a shot from Tracy Scroggins. It's ruled an incomplete pass.
I don't care who you got playing quarterback. You could have Sid Luckman. You could have Sammy Baugh. You could have Johnny Lujak. You could have them all in there at the same time. You can't with this kind of pass protection, or the lack of pass protection. Hey, you're not going to get it done. Look at this. Gets back in the pocket, and here it comes. He gets a little massage from the backside. Scroggins comes in and makes the hit.
And in defense of Harbaugh, on the occasions when he had time to throw, a number of times he had to pull it down because there wasn't anybody open. Willis looking for Lewis, who was overthrown. 3rd and 10 upcoming. Willis in his 3rd year out of Florida State. He was a 3rd-round draft pick in 1990. Started 2 games this year at Cleveland on November 29th. He was 19 for 26 for 285 yards in that one. Then December 7th at Houston, 11 for 24, 185 yards. He's thrown 4 touchdown passes this year, but has been picked off 6 times. 3rd and 10. The Bears running out of chances with 3:18 remaining and 1 timeout. They're down by 10 points. Willis threw a floater into the hands of Ray Crockett. He's out of bounds inside the 20-yard line. Third turnover of the day by Chicago. 4th interception of the year by Crockett. He brought it back 35 yards.
Okay, here we go with a replay of it. packets off the tops, you see, and the receiver, evidently, he kept running. He stopped, watched the quarterback, came back and made the interception, goes down the sideline, and finally gets knocked out of bounds by Wojciechowski, it looked like.
It was indeed. Crockett keeps the ball. We had 6 interceptions last year. Only Ronnie Lott had more in the NFL. He had 8. At the 20. The Lions go to Barry Sanders, who cuts back for 1 yard. For an NFL Today report, let's check in again in New York with Greg Gumbel.
All right, Sean, in New Orleans today, Buffalo's Thurman Thomas rushed for 115 yards and 2 touchdowns in the 20-16 win over the Saints and can win the AFC East if Miami loses to the Jets tonight. Meanwhile, San Diego en route to a playoff berth, leading the Raiders 33-7, less than 10 minutes to play in that game, Sean.
And the Saints could have clinched a home game in the wild card with a win over Buffalo or an Eagles loss today, but neither of those things happened. Barry Sanders out of the game with 113 yards today on 20 carries. He scored the only touchdown in this game to this point, a 6-yard run in the first half. On 2nd and 9, Ed Tillison with his 2nd carry of the day. And the Bears use their final timeout with 2:04 remaining. Actually, the clock ticked off another second after the whistle sounded. It's 2:03 showing. NFL action continues next Saturday. The New Orleans Saints travel east to the Meadowlands. They'll take on the New York Jets. And it all gets underway at noon Eastern with the NFL Today, the last word before kickoff. And Hank, you've seen a lot of the New Orleans Saints. Might this be the year they get over the playoff hump?
Well, I think they got a good enough team, especially defensively. They got a great kicker in Morton Anderson. Their offense has to be improved and more consistent. I was surprised. I really thought they'd beat, as I mentioned earlier in the program, I really thought they were going to beat Buffalo today.
San Francisco has clinched the NFC West. New Orleans has wrapped up a home wild card game, we are told now, with their 11-4 mark. Very disappointing year for Atlanta, and Mike Ditka can sympathize.
Well, Jerry Glanville's had the same kind of problems there with all the injuries he's had. It's amazing he's done as well as he's done.
There's speculation in Chicago that if Mike Ditka does return, there will be some changes on his coaching staff for next year. Do you have any suspicions as to whether or not Ditka will return next year?
Oh, I don't think there's any question about the fact that he's going to return. I'll be very, very surprised if anything happened in that respect. He's done too good a job there, and I think it's terrific for Chicago.
Tillison the carry. He's driven down by Spellman, and that is the 2-minute warning. With 2 minutes to play at the Silverdome, Wayne Fontes and the Lions enjoy a 10-point lead. Bears are about to absorb, it would appear, their 10th loss of the year. Hansen a perfect 2 for 2 today. He certainly justified his selection in the 2nd round of this year's draft out of Washington State. 31-yard try, Jim Arnold the holder. Only perfect.
Had the radar hooked up to that one.
With 1:55 to play here, we check in again with Greg Gumbel. A lot of things go against them this year, and they can add that pass rusher that you spoke of, maybe bring in another offensive lineman. They should be right back as a playoff team.
Well, the great thing about the Lions is the fact that they hung in there tough through all the adversity and have played some good games, as of the way they played here this afternoon against the Bears.
Jason Hansen's kickoff down by Lewis in the middle of the end zone. 1:55 to play. The Bears are out of timeouts. They're down by 13 points, and they send Peter Tom Willis back out for his 2nd series at quarterback. Chuck Schmidt was talking yesterday about the possibility of free agency in the NFL. He said the Lions have already begun to prepare for that possibility as many as 2 or 3 years ago, they started beefing up their NFL pro scouting staff.
Interesting to see how comfortable and how much at ease Bo is up in the press box. I wonder if he comes back into coaching, if he maintains the same personality.
Somehow I doubt it. Willis, good catch by Mark Green. The pass was a bit behind him. And now, if the official calling it incomplete or down, they're going to call it incomplete. He's saying that it hit the ground.
We talked a little bit about the attitude of the Detroit team and the way they played here this afternoon. A lot of teams in the same situation, the same circumstances. You can see the bubbles coming up at this stage of the season. They'd go into tank, but you know, they're hanging in there.
Screen, Darren Lewis. That's Jerry Fontenot, the center, out in front. Lewis picks up a first down out to the 31-yard line, a gain of 11. The tackle made by Melvin Jenkins. 1:35 and the clock running.
Victor Jones and Jenkins.
Lomas Brown. Wayne Font says he should be going back to the Pro Bowl this year for the 3rd straight year. On 1st and 10, Willis complete to Wendell Davis. First catch of the day for Davis, and that keeps his string alive. It extends his consecutive game string with at least one pass reception to 23 games. 1 minute remaining. 16-3 Detroit on 2nd and 3. Willis caught by Davis. He's down at the 40-yard line of Detroit. 22-yard pickup. Ray Crockett the stop.
Pass to Davis complete. Crockett on the stop.
This passing yardage is good for statistics, but beyond that, not significant at all.
Detroit in a serious prevent defense. Green tackled by Gibson and Crockett. Tackled in the field of play, and the clock continues to run down. You'd think at this point they'd just run back and throw it in the end zone. This one's going to go into the ground. And that'll set up 3rd and 5 with 13 seconds left. So with the Detroit win here this afternoon, the Lions and Bears will be tied for 3rd place in the NFC Central with identical records of 5 and 10. Each with a tough task next week. The Bears finish the season at Dallas. Detroit is at San Francisco. Willis, incomplete. Wendell Davis could have had it, but did not come up with it. 4th and 5 with 7 seconds left. Andre Ware will be the starter in the season finale against San Francisco. That was decided before today's game. And Mike Singletary playing in his final game in the Silverdome. Play his final game in a Bear uniform at Dallas next weekend. Willis to the end zone, intercepted by Benny Blaze. A fitting conclusion to this one. Now he laterals it to Jenkins. And he's tackled to end the game. Jay Lewinberg brought him down. 5 Chicago turnovers today. The final score, Detroit 16 and Chicago 3. We'll have a final thought from the Silverdome in just a moment.